Hey everyone, welcome to today's video. I wanted to share a few quick and fun ways you can use your Tombow dual brush pens. I hope you enjoyed the video and let's jump right in. The first way is to use a colored marker as well as the colorless blender. You'll first want to write your word out with the colored pen and then take the colorless blender to gently fade the bottom part of each letter to create a subtle gradient. The next method requires two colors, one light shade and one darker shade. First, you'll take the lighter color and write your word with it. Then you'll take the darker shade and go over the top half of each letter. Then, taking the lighter shade again, you'll want to blend the two colors together for a more seamless blend. The third method, you'll use a colored Tombow and a water brush or paintbrush in water. I'm starting off by writing a word with the Tombow and then using a water brush, I'm going over the bottom half of each letter. Once that dries, it'll create a gradient effect. For the fourth method, I'll be taking two colors again, a light and dark shade, and then I'm touching the tips to one another with the light shade on the bottom and the darker shade on top. I'm only going to have them touch for a few seconds, and then taking the lighter shade, I'll use it to write my words. As you can see, this creates an interesting blended effect when writing. To clean the tip to restore the original color, you'll just want to swatch the pen to get rid of the darker color since these pens are self-cleaning. For the fifth method, you'll want to use a plastic sandwich bag or saran wrap. Taking any shade you'd like, apply the color to the plastic. Then, taking the colorless blender pen, you'll want to apply the color onto the pen, which will create a light wash of color. Another example would be to apply a darker shade onto the plastic and then use a lighter shade to pick up the color. This will create another interesting blend in your letters. To use the Tombows like watercolors, you can apply the color to the plastic and use your water brush or paintbrush to pick up the color and paint with it. To create interesting backgrounds, the first way you can try is to apply a swatch to the page using any shade. Then, you can take your water brush and blend out the color for a gradient effect. Another method would be to lay down a darker shade and then take a lighter shade to go over it and blend it out for a more subtle transition. For a more abstract effect, you can apply some color to the plastic and then put down a few drops of water onto the page. Then, taking the plastic, you can apply the color right on top of the water droplets and smear the water around to your desired shape. Once you like the way it looks, you can remove the plastic. You can try this technique using however many colors you'd like. This one's one of my favorite ways to use Tombows as it creates a really cool tie-dye-like design, and it always turns out differently and unique. Once everything's dry to the touch, you can go in with some pens to decorate the splotches. For darker backgrounds, I like to use my white gel pen to create designs over top. The dark blue felt fitting for a night sky, so I went in with some stars and sparkles. I also like to go in with some lyrics of my favorite songs and hand letter those on top. Depending on my mood or the theme of the page, I like to change up the fonts and sometimes opt for a fineliner to add a more artistic touch. And finally, I also love adding line art over top of these backgrounds. It really adds some visual interest with the layering of textures, a bright pop of color, and the balanced contrast between the dark fineliner and vibrant shades. Well, that does it for today's video. I hope that you enjoyed it and found it helpful. Let me know if you'll be trying out any of these techniques with your Tombows. I'd love to hear from you. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!